Shalom, 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 shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace and salutation to the hopeful scattered abroad that's out here doing this work in truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Bach coming at you, with another class, man. I pray this class is edifying to the hopeful elect. Today I want to grab some integrity, scriptures, man. Integrity is everything, bro. And it's truth. This is Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 9. It says, "He that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that perverteth his ways shall be known." He that walketh uprightly, man. The true men of the Lord, the true believers, man. And that goes into to having integrity, man. For the Lord. Even when no one's watching, man. You still putting on that armor of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. You don't need brothers constantly watching over you, to make sure you're doing the right thing. That should come natural to you, man, when you are in this truth. It says, "But he that perverteth his ways shall be known." And the Lord will weed you out, man. If you're not doing this in truth and sincerity, the Lord gonna make it known. The Lord gonna put that spirit on brothers to get to looking into you more, man. And they see that you just want to be an Israelite on Saturdays, that ain't gonna cut it, man. This is our everyday lives, bro. Doing the work of the Lord. Doing the right thing when nobody's watching. In this case, doing the work, man. Doing the work, actually believing, I want to go to the book of Job. Go to the book of Job. I'm gonna grab it in the NLT. Job chapter 27. I'm gonna start at verse 3. This is Job. It says, "As long as I live, while I have breath from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, my lips will speak no evil, and my tongue will speak no lies. I will never concede that you are right. I will defend my integrity until I die." Right, man. We must defend our integrity for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai until we die. We must be faithful until death, man. Scripture say. We got to be faithful to death, man. Faithful until the end. I have fought my good fight of faith, man. But that's having that integrity, man. Defending the gospel. You are preaching the gospel and defending the gospel, man. Because what? They hate, people hate to hear the truth, man. But by us being men of the Lord, preachers, prophets, we standing on what we saying. We 10 toes down for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. No matter what situation they got us in, man. They might get us a brother by themselves one day. The things that you say in front of the congregation, should be the same thing you saying when you're alone, man. Just because Esau might have you by the by your toes, man. We still gonna have that integrity for the Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. Because what we seek, not to please men. Scripture say you must work out your own salvation with fear and trembling anyway. I'm gonna grab that Galatians. That Galatians, that I think it's 1 and 10. This is Galatians chapter 1 and verse 10. It says, For do I now persuade men, or Yahweh, or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Mashiach. You know, what I was just saying, man, you should be, wanting to do this to please Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because what men can't save themselves, man. Why are you looking for it to be? Why are you looking to please men? Your work gonna speak for itself, man. First and foremost, you be fearing the Lord. By fearing the Lord, you doing His work, man. Just be doing things to please Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. But I'm gonna grab that fear and trembling. You gotta work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. This is go to the book of this for the Philippians chapter 2 and verse 12. It said, Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but how much more in my absence. Right, man? And that goes into integrity, man. That goes into integrity, bro. Doing the right thing when nobody's looking, man. When you by yourself, see what it says, but now much more in my absence, man. You should be doing this more in the absence, man. You should be doing more when nobody's around. Just like as you would do when somebody's there. It says, work out your salvation, out your own salvation with fear and trembling, man. With fear and trembling. That's what we're supposed to be doing, man. When you at home, by yourself, away from brothers, you should still have that fire, man. Oh, I gotta knock this class out, man. I'm trying to please the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. Because I know if I don't do it, I know what the Lord can do to me. The Lord can take me out for not doing His work, man. The Lord can take me out for not fearing Him. That's what you should be thinking first and foremost, man. And as I speak to you, brothers, I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, man. Let me get back to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 11. This is Proverbs chapter 11, verse 3. It says, the integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them. The integrity of the upright shall guide them, man. You having that integrity, man, it's going to guide you into the right places at the right time, man. Just by having that integrity of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It says, the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them, man. You pretending to have that a front, that facade, you put on a facade, and you really don't care and you really don't know, man. And that's gonna lead you to your destruction, man. I'm gonna go to the book of Psalms, chapter 25. I'm gonna go to Psalm chapter 25 and verse 21. This is Psalm chapter 25 verse 21. It says, let integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I wait on you. And that's it, man. Let your integrity, having integrity for the Lord, preserve me, man. Preserve us, as we wait on the Lord, man. That's all we can do. Be patient and wait on the Lord, man, and pray that, what we did, was having integrity for the Lord, man. But that's pretty much all this lesson. I pray you are edified. To the hopeful elect. Until next video. Shalom.